place. Round the outside goes the German. That's not a move that has often worked, but he's made it work. Big lock-up, though, for Lorenzo Fluxer going into turn 3, but Jakob Bergmeister is the man on the move. He's got himself up into second place ahead of Brad Benavides.
Yep, certainly has done a very clean start for Lorenzo Fluxer, heading down now in towards Tora Vip. Has got a little bit of a gap between he and Benavides in behind, but you've got as well, not forgetting Bergmeister still fighting it out as well. Benavides still sitting in P3. Further back, Simonazzi looking to try and get himself off to the perfect start. Has managed to dislodge Fernando Barrichello in the initial stint. The Italian Stallion down the inside straight away, and ultimately plummed to remove heading in towards turn 8. Out of Samsung, just could not quite pull it off. But the daring moves that we've come to enjoy from Francesco Simonazzi historically in this championship, now proving to be a highlight already in this third race. The big question is, can he do it again, and this time successfully against Levente Revesh?
The top 3 already pulling away. Simonazzi to the inside now at turn 13, and this time does get the move done against the Hungarian and through into 4th place. Well, it looked like Revesh was trying to come back up the inside. There, see, Simonazzi needs to try and bridge that gap that's already forming, the 3/4 of a second between himself and Brad Benavides in 3rd place. And now Benavides going for 2nd place, trying to take it back from the German, side by side down the straight, side by side for 4th position behind them, as Revesh is coming back at Simonazzi as well. So Benavides makes up a place in 2nd. Revesh retakes 4th as well.
Certainly does. Simonazzi looking to argue back, though, heading in towards turn 3. Could not quite find a way through. Barrichello watching in the wings as well. In the background, Lorenzo Fluxer still with the lead advantage. Of course, with the fighting that Bergmeister and Benavides have had, it has allowed 9/10 to separate Fluxer and Bergmeister and Benavides there. But obviously, Benavides managing to take that 2nd place away from Bergmeister. Levente Revesh holding on to 4th after tagging back against Francesco Simonazzi after the Italian managed to certainly land a decisive blow in the final sector. It was all undone, though, prior to running down into turn 1. Brilliant move there indeed from Revesh, and the type of moves I think we've come to expect from someone who has really come alive in this championship after his sporadic appearances towards the end of last season. Now with a full season commitment this campaign, be looking to try and hunt for the title, I would imagine. But now as they make their way through towards turn 10 down the hill with a gravel trap on the left-hand side, and certainly hasn't disrupted anybody right now, but the early stages certainly suggest that Fluxer is in calm control. Benavides looking to try and close that gap because, of course, he'll be chasing his 2nd race win of this campaign, taking his very first in our last race. More to come, you'd think.
Got a replay here. This is from the first lap. Lorenzo Fluxer putting a flat spot on the front right tyre there, trying to get it stopped for turn number 3. That was Jakob Bergmeister securing the position. This is a lovely move from Francesco Simonazzi, trying to take 4th position away from Levente Revesh. So Benavides came back at Bergmeister. Revesh came back at Simonazzi as well into the 1st corner at the start of the 2nd lap. So Lorenzo Fluxer's advantage is around 8/10 of a second, but Brad Benavides just done the fastest lap of the race. Although he was only a few hundredths quicker than Fluxer, but bear in mind he was also trying to pass Bergmeister. So it's Bergmeister 3rd, Revesh in 4th, Simonazzi still 5th, and then Fernando Barrichello in 6th position. Fernando Barrichello really spoken, of course, son of Rubens, of course, but 2 seasons in Formula 4 Brazil to his name, with a smattering of F4 UAE and Spanish F4 in there as well. So making the step up into Euroformula competition. Hasn't had the easiest time of it so far. Of course, car didn't get going at the start of the 1st race, but he is under great tutelage at the motorpark team. Looking at the back of Francesco Simonazzi at the moment, and this is closing up, isn't it, between Brad Benavides and Lorenzo Fluxer.
It's going to be a fascinating fight between these two. Of course, Fluxer and Benavides both vastly experienced at single-seater level. Of course, more recently, Fluxer in the World of Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, but also not forgetting his runs in Formula 4. And the Spaniard in a Spanish championship looking to unleash his very best as they head down in towards turn 1. And there in the background, Euroformula still keeping Fernando Barrichello and Francesco Simonazzi at bay until Simonazzi tries to launch it up the inside again, coming out of turn 3. Over the crest at turn 4, nearly running wheel to wheel again and maybe attempting a swap heading down in towards Tora Vip. Can't quite find it just yet, but might open the door in a moment or two, and indeed he does, indeed as well. Barrichello maybe trying to find a move down the inside at Tora Vip, and this could give him the confidence boost he's been searching for. Running very wide though, running on the escape heading out of turn 5 and up the hill. Barrichello might be in front, but the stewards might take a dim view of that one.
Yeah, I wonder if it's still passing off the track if you're both off the track. One for the stewards. Now, it's the moment coming out of turn 11. No, we've got the replay of the move from Barrichello here down the inside. Yeah, not much Simonazzi could have done with that, in fairness.
So close to contact coming out of Tora Vip as well. Simonazzi has since got back past Barrichello. It's good to see a statement there from Fernando Barrichello to suggest, listen, we're in this. We're going to fight for every position. Despite Simonazzi retaking the place that he had provisionally lost, now sits back in P5 in the classification. It's Flucher, who still controls the pace right now, but Benavides is very close at this stage now, 4/10 away, as we now take another look at the move from Simonazzi up the inside. So it wasn't necessarily giving a place back, it was Simonazzi actually attempting that overtake in successful fashion as well around turn 10, and then down the hill. Oh, a very big lockup indeed from, I think that was Jakob Bergmeister.
No. Yeah, you're right, I thought it was Fuchser for a second there.
Yeah, Bergmeister locking up the tyres coming through turn 3 and out of turn 4 now. Flucher has just registered a purple first sector, so now very wary that Brad Benavides is closing up in behind. Coming into this lap, they were just under 4/10, well, just under 5/10 apart, I should say, as they have 14 laps still to go. Early days, plenty more racing to be had.
Gap down to half a second. Lorenzo Fuchser from Mallorca, the Spanish Brit. I believe it's British on his mother's side. He's continuing to lead this race. Of course, we've been talking about his LMP2 career, but of course, very well acquainted with single-seaters. Raced in F4, the UAE Championship, the Spanish Championship. Has raced in F3 Asia as well, and various Formula regional campaigns across Europe and Asia, but deciding to make the switch to LMP2. Competed with Cool Racing in the Asian Le Mans Series over the winter, and he's in good company there with Malte Jakobsen and Ritomo Miata alongside him, and they won the season opener in Barcelona in the ELMS a few weeks ago. Jakob Bergmeister now under pressure for the last spot on the podium. Levente Revesh trying to find a way up, down and around to the outside of turn 3. The German stands his ground. The 18-year-old trying to keep ahead of the Hungarian. Simonazzi right in there as well. Bergmeister defended to the inside at turn 5. Simonazzi trying to take advantage of that. And, in the end, status quo is maintained with Bergmeister leading Revesh and leading Simonazzi.
Certainly up. Status quo still maintained. Out of the shadows and into the light. And unfortunately for Levente Revesh, could not pull off the move heading through the first sector against Bergmeister. Bergmeister defending vigilantly, but it might come to an end now as Revesh spies an opportunity coming through turn 10. Wheel to wheel, they will go together down the hill, down the crest. Over the crest comes Simonazzi, who dives down the inside and also spies a look on Bergmeister, but Revesh the only one who's able to bank on this one. Enter Fernando Barrichello, who comes through on the outside, heading out of turn 13, heading through Sagre, the Brazilian, looking to try and hang around the inside, maybe to the detriment of the Italian, who still manages to hang on. A truly magnificent battle that's starting to brew for this third place.
Simonazzi's been getting his elbows out throughout the race. Of course, he was side by side across the line for the spot on the podium earlier and bouncing all around the curbs in the grass to make it happen. Now side by side with Bergmeister. Once again, This time on the inside, but Bergmeister chops across the Italian's nose. There's no way through there for Simonazzi. Has to duck back in, and Levente Revesh will try and break free, get through, and create a bit of a gap while these guys are squabbling behind him. We are just on lap 7 of this race. Again, Simonazzi to the inside. And of course, the ebb and flow of this race as well. As an impact of the Pirelli tyres, which do require a little bit of management compared to, say, the Hankooks and the Michelins that the series has previously run. So that can see the performance swing between the races as well, and also between the laps, because if you save your best for the end of the race, then you can start making forward progress. But if you're like Simonazzi and been following in the dirty air, not looking at the dirty air there as he goes to the inside of Bergmeister at turn 13, shows the German the curbing on the outside and makes his way through into 5th position. So Simonazzi dispatches of Bergmeister. Now we'll get after Levente Revesh. The gap around 1 second between Revesh in 3rd and Simonazzi now in 4th.
Great move there from Simonazzi. And, coming out of the top of the hill, turn 13. Once again, flexing the BVM car here around this Portimao circuit. Dallara 320 chassis has been well reported by drivers who have taken part in the series to be a lot of fun to drive. I know, speaking to Fernando Barrichello, we're now seeing trying to tackle Jakob Bergmeister heading through to 3, has got the move done as well. Well done, Fernando Barrichello, up into 5th spot and chasing down after Francesco Simonazzi this time around. And that very striking blue and yellow livery. Some different shades further up, still yellow on Simonazzi's car, but with black and white also included. So now rush up through sector 2, heading through towards turns 8, which will take him through Samsung now. Barrichello still on the hunt, and definitely seems better ingrained into the car now as we race around in race 3 here at Portimao. Coming through the in-swingers now, this right-hander, blind corner, which can provide opportunities for overtaking as well. Barrichello trying to look for every apex to try and dial in against Simonazzi, just close that gap and get right into his wheel tracks and stay within the aero. This is the replay of Simonazzi's manoeuvre, managing to tuck it up the inside of Jakob Bergmeister, and there was nothing that young Bergmeister could have done about that one. Simonazzi showing all the power and all the potential that is within his abilities as a racer, and once again coming out on top in that instance. And here is the moment that Fernando Barrichello managed to pull out the bag. A great move down the inside coming out of turn 3 and over the crest at turn 4, consolidating the place in 5th.
So 10 laps to go. Lorenzo Fluxer suddenly looking a lot more comfortable out there in the lead of the race by 1.3 seconds. So it's a question of who's going to be joining them on the podium. And Lorenzo Fluxer could be, of course, to maintain what the championship has done for the last 2 seasons, actually, which is to have 3 different winners in the first 3 races. We had that in 2022 at Estoril, and here last year as well, between Simonazzi and Benavides on this occasion. We've had 2 from 2. Lorenzo Fluxer could make it 3 from 3. Rises the crest up through turn 10 and 11. And Lorenzo Fluxer getting the radio messages from Florian Toulouse. And well, as a driver who's now competing in LMP2 machinery, almost fitting that he has someone like Florian who helped into Europol to the Le Mans 24 Hours class victory in LMP2 last year. A most fateful partnership there between driver and engineer. Fluxer ticks off another lap, and now 1.6 clear of Brad Benavides in second place, who took his first ever single-seater win in this morning's race. Brad Benavidez, the 22-year-old Floridian, who made his car racing debut in the Euroformula Open Championship back in 2018 with a wildcard appearance in Barcelona at the end of the season. And before that was racing the KZ2 shifter cars. Oh! Problem here for Levente Revesh. That looks like an engine has expired by the looks of it.
Yeah, a high degree of smoke coming out the back of the car, and you can just see it, coming to a standstill on the outset of turn 3. And that car will not continue. And a real heartbreaking moment for Levente Revesh, chasing a podium, of course, through the course of this race. And this is a moment, he was actually in the midst of a battle with Francesco Simonazzi.
There was no contact, though.
No contact whatsoever, but just ran wide after just trying to avoid any point of contact with Simonazzi, but all of a sudden, the engine coming to an end. The safety car has been called out, and Levente Revesh leaves his car along the side of the road for the marshals to clear up. But certainly not the best way to end a weekend, especially here at Portimao. Not the best way to get your championship started.
Disappointing for the 19-year-old Hungarian from Budapest. Will, of course, be racing in his home city in June when we head back to the Hungaroring. It's a nice calendar once again for the Euroformula Open, with Portimao heading out to Hockenheim in a couple of weeks' time, and then 2 weeks after that to Spa-Francorchamps, where we had some fantastic battles last year between Bryce Aaron and Noel Leon in particular as well. Hungaroring in June, Paul Ricard in July, Red Bull Ring and Barcelona in September, and then Monza, the season finale, in October. Be 8 individual meetings for the Euroformula Open Championship, and 21 races in total, with 3 races per event, following the standard format of the sort of feature race style, with the qualifying setting race 1 and then 2 top 6 reverse grid races. Number of records to be chased throughout this season as well, for the 17th season of the Euroformula Open Championship, as we see Levente Revesh just at the side of the track. But 17th season for the Euroformula Open, and the 11th under its current guise. So it's formerly known as the European F3 Open Championship and Spanish Formula 3 as well. So you can trace the origin of this championship back to 2001. But in its modern guise, now we know the record holders seem to be the ones we all remember, like Felipe Drugovich for most wins in a season. That was 14 back in 2018, and actually most podiums and most points was Olli Goethe a couple of years ago. Now racing in Formula 3, of course, along with many other graduates from this championship. In Formula 3, at the moment, you have Olli Goethe and Christian Mansell from the 2022 season, and last year's champion Noel Leon, alongside Kean Shields, Charlie Wirtz, Josh Dufek there as well. Bryce Aaron from last year, currently racing in the Indy NXT Championship, as is Josh Mason. But then higher up the order as well, well, actually stateside as well, Alex Palou, 2-time IndyCar champion, Colton Herter, race winner in IndyCar as well. Aston Martin F1 reserve driver Felipe Drugovich, of course, Red Bull reserve driver Liam Lawson, Alpine F1 reserve driver Jack Doohan as well. The list goes on and on.
Certainly does. Look back at some of the names as well, including the likes of Cembolak Bassi, who has competed in both the real-life sense and also a little bit in sim racing as well. He's been a phenomenal servant to the world of the sport as the Turk, and much enjoyed watching him compete in the past. And alluded to Oliver Goethe as well. It was certainly a goal in mind, was to try and break Felipe Drugovich's record, which is certainly very difficult to do given the fact that he nearly went undefeated through the entirety of his campaign. But other names as well, Harrison Scott, you look at Sammy Stuvik as well, and Cameron Dass, who has also gone on and done great things historically.
Cameron Dass, here in Portimao, one of only 2 drivers to take all 3 wins in a Euroformula race weekend. Now, there is a slight asterisk next to this. I'm counting the 3-race format that we've had, because during the COVID years, there were some races where we had 3 or even 4 races to try and make up for it. And so say like in Barcelona, for example, where we had 4 races, well, Yifei won all of those races in 2020. But if you look at just the 3-race format, where it's you know, the format that we've come to know and love in the Euroformula Open, then Cameron Das in 2021 here in Portimao won all 3 of those races, and that is a feat that only Ollie Goethe has been able to match at Spa a couple of years later.
Yeah, certainly did. And Goethe now racing in the Formula 3 Championship, FIA F3, and has done exceptionally well as many others that have moved on and upwards, including the likes of Colton Herta and Liam Lawson, as you alluded to.
Cameron Das is basically a TikTok star.
Well, he's part of Veloce now as well, with John Eric Verne's organisation, who of course was driver for in Formula 1, part of the Red Bull family as well, all the way back then. But has since now
Peugeot Works driver now.
Yeah, has taken a turn to Formula E, and now we see him representing in a real life sense with Veloce nowadays in Extreme E and various other championships. So incredible links that you can form. Very, very close space in the world of motorsport, in the sense that everyone knows each other, and small world, I think, is probably a better term for it. But incredible. And
small world indeed.
Many names have been linked together in the past, but now we're seeing these new young stars, obviously, that are going to come and bring their very best. Flucia still at the head of the field as the safety car still remains out. He'll be with us for still another lap. I'd imagine we will still have 5 laps of racing before we bring it to the end. But of course, Levente Ravesh, his car has to be removed. The marshals obviously doing a stellar job, as they have done all weekend. And very soon we'll get back racing. But Flucia with a great chance here to add his name to the winners list this weekend too.
It seems like an appropriate time to thank the marshals for all they've done. It's the last race of the weekend here in Portimao, between the various series that we've had racing, not just part of the GT Sport organisation as well, but a couple of other series that have been racing with us this weekend. The marshals have done a fabulous job. We have kicked up a bit of gravel across the circuit. We've bounced across some curbs. We did dent a Tech Pro barrier quite badly this morning as well. But yeah, thank you to the Orange Army that is alongside us every race weekend, because we cannot go racing without you.
Very important part, integral part of motorsport across the globe. As we now watch the cars make their way out of Tora Vip. Great chance now for a close quarter battle for the win. We've got all 5 cars remaining in this, all within a chance of trying to challenge Lorenzo Flucia for that top spot in this classification. Simonazzi has a great opportunity as well, currently 3rd in this 1-2. Safety car will be coming in this lap.
I think if Flucia does manage to secure the win here, it'll be his first single-seater win since the F4 UAE Championship in 2020. I would have to confirm that, of course, but by my estimation, the first single-seater win in, since 2020. Obviously, he's taken a win since then, the European Le Mans Series. But in terms of single-seaters, I think, that F4 UAE season would be his last one. Well, we've got 5 laps to see if the Spanish Brit can secure his first victory in the Euroformula Open Championship against our most recent race winner, Brad Benavides. Fluxa leading them very, very slowly around these final couple of corners, really keeping us waiting, and he wants to catch Brad Benavides by surprise as much as possible. Very gingerly. Well, Lorenzo's got to go at some point. Will he leave it right up to the line? If he's not careful, Brad's going to run into the back of him. Of course, Francesco Simonazzi right there in 3rd place as well. Now down to 5 cars with Fernando Barrichello and Jakob Bergmeister in there. And Lorenzo finally puts his foot to the floor. Basically, they were on the straight, wanted to leave it to the last possible moment, and already trying to break the toe is the man from Mallorca, Benavides. catches him in the slipstream, pulls to the outside, but can't go around the outside at turn 1. And Fluxa continues to lead, but he'll have to keep his elbows out as Benavides tries to find the inside into turn 3, but there was no way through for the Floridian.
I think Fluxa was trying to cut out some of the straight, but runs wide on the escape, heading out of turn 4. And heading down towards turn 5 now. The question is, will he remain there, or will Benavides manage to counteract any sort of defense? Not at this stage. Certainly Fluxa doing a great job right now, climbing up the crest now, up the hill, before they then reach turn 7 and turns 8. Further back, we've got Francesco Simonazzi still waiting in the wings, watching everything unfold, but further back, Fernando Barrichello still sitting pretty in 4th place, with Jakob Bergmeister at the tail of the field as they now run over the hill and then back up again. The roller coaster circuit here at the Algarve. Portimao delivering. Of course, we've seen quite a few moves across this championship, the first 3 races. Been certainly brilliant to watch in terms of how these cars can run up and close together. Some of the moves that some of the drivers are being able to pull off, very maneuverable. The Dallara 320 chassis. As they head through turn 13 through Sagre, heading down in towards the Galp corner, in towards turn 15. As you can now see them all nose to tail. The gap's minute as they now carry the speed heading down towards the long straight. And they'll commence the next lap, and it'll be 4 to go before we then venture onto the final lap. Still Lorenzo Fluxa out in front. Breaking to within 0.3 of a second is Brad Benavides, who's now clocking all over the rear now of Lorenzo Fluxa. Has that favourable inside for turn 1. Brad Benavides squeezing him to the outside, but Fluxa, oh so experienced, able to palm off the offence. Brad Benavides twitching in the rear, and that invites Francesco Simonazzi into the fight. They come out of turn 3 through towards turn 4. Benavides with enough in the locker to defend against the Italian stallion, but still in this case, they're very close, they're very bunched. They break away to the inside again, heading in towards Tora Vip. Simonazzi around the outside, tries to open an opportunity heading out to the hairpin, but can't quite find it. Still Fluxa out in front, but for how much longer, Chris?
Well, we'll find out, won't we? 3.5 laps to go, and still Benavides soaring either side, looking up at turn 8, but no way through. Lorenzo Fluxa still manages to hold on to the lead. 1.6 seconds covers the whole field of 5 cars. Simonazzi with a dive on the inside through turns 10 and 11, and the Italian does get through into 2nd place. So Simonazzi, our race 1 winner, through past our race 2 winner, but still has to defend into turn 13. Benavides with a bit of an undercut there. They will run side by side through the way into the penultimate corner. That gives Lorenzo Fluxa a bit of a reprieve. He's able to pull a bit of a gap. And now, what was that? A bit more of a bit of a signal there. As Benavides gets a great tow through that final corner. They are side by side once again. Benavides will be on the outside line, but he'll clear Simonazzi by the time they even have to think about turn 1. And Benavides back into 2nd. Simonazzi looks back up the inside. No way through.
Not at all. Benavides shuts in the door coming through turn 1. Simonazzi just losing out the place heading down the straight. We have now got a timed finish here. 1 minute and 40 to go as they now make their way over the hill this time around. It is still now Lorenzo Fluxa consolidating his lead at the front, with Benavides trying to retain that 2nd place after losing it out to Simonazzi. It was a very attractive move heading through turn 10. I never get tired of seeing those moves. Truly magnificent and majestic in the same way. Barrichello still holding on to 4th as well as they climb the hill, coming out of turn 7, turn 8 again. And you'd imagine, based on what we're seeing here, it could be the case that the next lap will be the final lap, Chris.
Yeah, I can imagine it will be. So we're going to hit the 30-minute time limit that we have for these races, which is usually pretty marginal anyway. But of course, we've had the fairly lengthy safety car intervention. And so it'll be just one more lap that separates Lorenzo Fluxa from himself to his first Euroformula race win for the series, 3rd win in as many races as it has been for the last 2 years. Simonazzi still trying to find his way through on Brad Benavides. Here we go. Fluxa coming around the final corner for the penultimate time. And we will start the final lap of the race with just about 0.4 of a second separating Lorenzo Fluxa from Brad Benavides. And the same margin separating Benavides from Simonazzi. Nothing doing into the first corner. Barrichello within striking distance as well if something goes wrong between one of these top three. Fluxa leads them through the crest at turn 4, down the back straight. And yet still doesn't look like that Benavides is in striking distance. Closes up under braking, locks up though going into turn 5. That will not help his run. Still in the wheel tracks of Lorenzo Fluxa though. They turn right through turns 7 and 8. Final time of asking through these corners, and the 22-year-old Floridian on the back of his first ever single-seater win, trying to bag his second against Lorenzo Fluxa. Will he be able to do so? I mean, we saw how much momentum he had out of the final corner when racing Simonazzi. It could be a drag to the finish line, because at the moment he's not close enough to make a move under braking. This is the last big stop on the lap. Fluxa's through safely. Less than a second covering these top 3 cars, but Fluxa's now making his way around that penultimate corner. If he gets out of here cleanly, he should be gold and dry. Lorenzo Fluxa through the final corner, and the Spaniard will get across the line and take his first victory in the Euroformula Open Championship in race 3 in Portimao. Brad Benavides second by 0.3 of a second, with Francesco Simonazzi completing the podium.
Fantastic result for Lorenzo Fluxa. That's a first win of the season for him. And yet another podium for both Brad Benavides and Francesco Simonazzi. Barrichello finishing in 4th, Jakob Bergmeister in 5th, and obviously we know Levente Revesh did not make it to the end after that, what looked to be an engine failure earlier on in the race. But it's Lorenzo Fluxa who takes the checkered flag, and it's victory for him. And the Spaniard, I'm sure, will be delighted with it too. Led from start to finish. Take us through the results, Chris.
Lorenzo Fluxa for the first time in the Euroformula Open Championship. Brad Benavides in 2nd. Francesco Simonazzi 3rd for BVM Racing. Fernando Barrichello and Jakob Bergmeister lead the 5 runners who made the finish. We lost Levente Revesh. So Brad Benavides continues to lead, but now it's Lorenzo Fluxa in 2nd place in the championship by 7 points, just 1 point clear of Francesco Simonazzi. Jakob Bergmeister 36 points back in 4th. 2 points ahead of Fernando Barrichello. Levente Revesh now 6th in the standings after that DNF, which could prove costly when we get to the end of the season in Monza. But for now, it's all about Lorenzo Fluxa and his first, we think, single-seater win since the 2020 F4 UAE campaign. He finished 2nd in the championship that year, with 2 wins to his name. Has found winning success in single-seaters once again this weekend.
Yeah, and the positive note about being a race winner for the first time in the Euroformula Open Championship is that you get to put your name alongside the likes of Yuki Tsunoda, who is, of course, a former race winner, only one time a race winner in the Euroformula Open Championship, but now, of course, driving for the RB team in Formula 1.
Yeah, I called them AlphaTauri earlier, didn't I?
Very easy to be caught out by that.
About Liam Lawson, I'm still not sold on that whole name thing.
Currently, RB as we know it, under the Red Bull banner. Other names include Bent Viscal, who of course raced in this series, as well as Billy Munger, who is now also a broadcasting talent too, in many ways. Sebastian Ogard, historically. Simonazzi, of course, now laying claim to 3 wins off the back of what he achieved earlier on in the weekend. Freddie Lubin, of course, a one-time race winner of this series in recent times as well. Remember, he took his victory back in 2022 in the season that Ollie Goethe would win his championship. But this is one that Lorenzo Fluxa can cherish and become part of that, well, that winning list, that one-time winner list here in the Euroformula Open Championship. And hopefully you'll plumb for more in the remaining rounds. Still plenty of them to gain. And I'd imagine there'll be other drivers looking to try and profit off the back of a long championship series. But Lorenzo Fluxa, you are a race winner here in Euroformula Open for the first time.
He certainly is. And I think you can see on his helmet there that reflection of the his dual nationality, the Spanish flag and what looked like a Union Jack on the top of his helmet, or certainly a Union Jack-esque. Brad Benavides congratulating the other drivers. Yeah. He looks fairly content with second place. There, Francesco Simonazzi. Of course, the only non-motorpark car on the grid. BVM Racing going up against it in terms of competition. They obviously can be quite a challenge going up against a team that just knows the car so well. Speaking of, Francesco Simonazzi, third for BVM Racing in race 3 of the Euroformula Open Championship in Portimao. Brad Benavides, second for Team Motorpark. The 22-year-old Floridian back on the podium. But for the first time in the Euroformula Open Championship for Team Motorpark, it's Lorenzo Fluxa, the Spaniard, on the top step of the podium. And he was, of course, in Barcelona for the LMP2 European Le Mans Series, where he was victorious with Cool Racing. But in terms of single-seaters, I think he hasn't taken a win since 2020. And that is a great result for the Spaniard.
Third winner in this first weekend of the Euroformula, Lorenzo Fluxa. Beautiful race, very tough fight.
Yeah, some tough fights. Well, we started P1, got a good start. Then the pace was just focusing on our race. We did it until the safety car. Then the safety car was a bit tougher than with the tires, but well, still, quite a positive race, yeah.
How did you like the car and the formula?
Yeah, the Euroformula is a beautiful car to drive. I really, really love it. Amazing. You can really play with it. It's a proper racing car. Yeah, I love it.
Back soon?
Hopefully, yeah, at some point I would like to be back. Yeah, I don't know when yet, but yeah, at some point I'll be back.
For the time being, enjoy the moment and the victory. Well done.
Let's take a look back then at Lorenzo Fluxa's first victory in the Euroformula Open Championship. He was, of course, on reverse grid pole. But it was Jakob Bergmeister who was challenging for second place at the start of the race after getting a better start than Brad Benavides. He went around the outside at the first corner. And at the second stop, Lorenzo Fluxa, on the flat, spotted that front left tyre. Didn't cause him any harm, though, as Brad Benavides took second place back, right as Levente Revesh took fourth position away from Francesco Simonazzi. Revesh challenged Bergmeister for a spot on the podium, up on the inside at turn 11, dispatching of the German to secure his place on the rostrum for the time being. Simonazzi tried to find his way through. Lap later, dived to the inside on the young German, using his experience to secure that place as FIFA Barrichello ended up finding his way through as well. Simonazzi tried to take the position away from Levente Revesh, whose engine seemed to expire at turn 1. We did have a safety car as a result of it when we got going again. It was Simonazzi all over the back of Benavides, trying to get up the inside into turn 11 and successfully doing so very briefly, but Benavides came back at the Italian shortly afterwards. That gave Lorenzo Fluxa some breathing space. He used it to great aplomb, taking his first victory in the Euroformula Open Championship. And now on the podium will be Francesco Simonazzi on the right-hand side, Brad Benavides on the left, Lorenzo Fluxa, of course, in the middle. They'll be joined on by the Motorpark representative. Fernando Barrichello will also make a appearance on the podium as the rookie driver. Lorenzo Fluxa's comments there, just backing up why everyone loves this Euroformula Open car. But for now, we will listen to the Spanish national anthem. Well, huge congratulations to Lorenzo Fluxa. The trophy presentation will commence. But yeah, George, just those comments he was making about the car. Every driver we speak to, they love this car.
It's I got to say, we get that every time we go racing. It has to be said, and Flucia just backing those up. I mean, without a doubt, Dallara 320 is the 320 is a great chassis, and you know, one I think every single driver enjoys. Francesco Simonazzi raves about it time and time again. Just loves it. You know, I think just so much you can do with it. Lorenzo Flucia celebrating with the winner's trophy. And yeah, he's absolutely right in what he's saying. I mean, the things you can do with the Dallara 320, the wheel-to-wheel action, the moves that Francesco Simonazzi likes to pull off. The winning team's trophy going to the Motorpark representatives. Fernando Barrichello also picks up the winner's rookie trophy. And they will celebrate.
They certainly will. They'll pose for the photo. Fernando Barrichello. Left-hand side, getting used to that podium. It's the rookie driver. But, yep, the photos will be had, and the champagne will be sprayed. Simonazzi's the first one to dive for it. Brad's out of there like a bullet. But, celebrating with Lorenzo. So that's all from Portimao. We will be back with more Euroformula Open racing in Hockenheim in 2 weeks' time.